Hey everyone, it's Laurel. Today I want to share this little paper bag mini album with you. And it's a pretty typical paper bag mini album. The problem I had was I wanted to make a paper bag album, but I wasn't sure exactly how many pages I was going to need in it. So I needed it to have like a binding that was adjustable. So something that wasn't a fixed thickness and that I could easily add or remove pages. So I thought, like if you're going on a trip or something, you're not sure exactly how many pages you're going to need. So something like a smash book is always good, but I thought, it might be fun to use a little paper bag book with the pockets and stuff. So first I thought, well, I'll just use the book binding rings because those you can open and close and add stuff or take stuff out, but I just thought I wanted something a little different. So to bind this book I used elastic cord and a swivel clasp, a Tim Holtz thing, and all I did was shorten it a little bit. Some of them come short, but this one was kind of long, so I just took off a few of the chain pieces here. And so this is what my book looks like. It has two chipboard covers, and this part's not covered because this is where it would need to expand, so you can't have a fixed width on your cover. So I just left it open. I think it's fine. And then the inside are just regular paper bags. These are the small ones, but you can use any size paper bag you want. Even envelopes would be cute in here. This is like a cardstock page, so you can put really anything in here. If you have like memorabilia that you want to stick in here, that would work too. So I just have all my pages like this. So again, I thought this would be good like for a trip or something where you want to take a little paper bag mini book, because I mean these are great for trips and stuff because they have all the pockets in them. But if you're not sure exactly how many pages you're going to need, all you have to do is unhook the clasp and undo the elastic, just feed it back through the hole, and then you can add or remove whatever you want from this little book. So I thought it was kind of cute, and now I'm going to show you how I put this paper bag mini album together. So to make the paper bag mini album, I'm going to use, you can use any size paper bag that you want. I just happen to be using these small paper bags. They're 6.5 inches tall, about 3.5 inches wide. So when you get your paper bag, it looks like this. And so all I'm going to do is fold the bottom flap back this way to get another crease on it. And then I'm going to fold the flaps down so that they look like that. So I'm just folding it halfway back over. So now my paper bag looks like this. And I've done that to all of my bags. So they're going to go together in the book like this. I can also include cardstock pages. To do this, all I did was I cut a sheet of cardstock the same size as my paper bag, and I just scored it the width of this flap here. So you can include the paper bags, you can put in little envelopes, plain cardstock pages like this, whatever you want to do. So that's what makes this album really fun, is you can just put all kinds of different pages in it. So now that I have all of my paper bags put together, I want to just secure these flaps down because we're not going to use them in this book. So I'm just going to put some adhesive so that they'll stay together. And the binding of my book is going to go here, so they should be good and secure when they're bound together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of my paper bags. And then I'm also going to want to cover them with patterned paper before I put my book together, just because it's easy. So to determine how big your paper needs to be, just measure just this portion of the bag. Don't include the flap because this is going to be covered in the binding. So mine measures 4.5 by 3.5. So I've just cut these sheets of card pattern paper about 1/4 inch smaller than the dimensions of my page. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the pattern paper to my paper bags now before I bind it together. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. So now I have my paper bags covered with the pattern paper, and now I'm going to work on my covers. So to make the covers, I need to cut chipboard pieces. So this is how they look, and I've cut them to maybe just 1/8 of an inch bigger than my bag this way. And to determine the width of these pieces, this is cut to almost the exact same width as this flap, so it should fit pretty closely over the flap like this. And then this piece is just a little wider than the bag. You can see that here, maybe 1/4 of an inch or so. So this is how my cover is going to lay. So to put my cover together, I'm going to use this yellow cardstock. And my pieces are going to fit like this. I want just a little gap in between these two pieces because it's going to fold at that point. This is how the pages in the book are going to go, so that gap will allow the cover to fold as well. So I'm going to take my chipboard pieces and I'm just going to put some adhesive on them so that they'll stick to the cardstock. And I'm just going to try and lay them pretty much in the center. Just like that. And then I'm going to want to bend the edges of the cardstock around my chipboard. So if you just place the edge down on your table and just kind of curl it towards you, it'll wrap the cardstock around the chipboard nicely. So just do that on all 4 edges. And then on the corners here, I'm just going to snip the corners off like that. I'm going to do that on all four. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the edges here. And just fold them over like this. So I've gone ahead and covered my covers. I've also gone ahead and put 2 pieces of clear tape over this seam. And I want to cover the seam and then the portion where the cardstock meets the chipboard. So I want to make sure that I just cover this section right here. And the reason for that is when the cover bends, I don't want this to rip. So I just put the plastic, so that should prevent it from tearing when the cover moves. And the only other thing I'm going to do is take this piece of craft cardstock and cover just this portion of my page. This is going to be covered in the binding, so I don't have to worry about covering that. So I have my 2 covers here. I also have this sheet of cardstock that I'm going to use as a page in my book, and I've gone ahead and measured the location of my holes. And the way I determined the distance between them is I took this piece that I'm going to use as my clasp and I laid it down onto the piece of cardstock, and I wanted to fit in between the 2 holes. So all I did was take a pen and mark 2 dots and punch the holes so that I know where I need them to be. So I'm going to take this. I'm also going to use this, or I did use this as a template to punch the holes in my covers, and then also in my paper bags. So now I'm ready to bind my book. I'm going to put everything in the order that I want it to be. I want this page to go in between here. And I put my covers on like this. So this is what my finished book is going to look like. So to bind it, I have this piece of elastic cord here, and it's about 3 times longer than the width of my book here. So that's more elastic than I'm going to need. It also depends on how thick your book is, but what I'm going to do is double this up and feed it through the holes. So I'm going to work with a piece that's 3 times the width of my book. So I want to attach it to the ring on the bottom of my clasp mechanism. So I'm just going to feed it through, and I'm going to tie a knot on the end. So now it looks like this, and I'm going to go ahead and so that the knot doesn't show on the outside of my book, I'm going to pull it so that it's just maybe half an inch below the ring on my chain. And you may have to adjust it once you start feeding this through your pages. But I'm going to start with the bottom hole on the front cover. And I'm going to pull it through making sure that I get the knot to come to the inside. And I'm going to continue going through the bottom holes on my pages. So this knot is going to sit on the inside of the cover. So I'm just feeding it through the bottom hole on all of my pages. And then I'm going to do the same thing going back through the top hole, just in the opposite direction. And this is going to be a little harder because it's a little bit shorter this time. But luckily it stretches, so you can kind of pull it through. So now I've gone through here, and you can see that this is too long, like it's not gonna stay nicely in this hook. So I don't want to cut this off because I may need, you know, the extra elastic once I start adding other stuff to my book. So to store this extra length here until I need it, I'm going to wrap it around the cover and pull it back through this hole again, just to keep it out of the way so I can keep my book together. So to do that, I'm going to push it back from the inside. This is a little tricky, but you can get it to come back through. So I just fed it back through the hole again, and I pulled it out with my little tool. So I've gone ahead and wrapped my elastic around twice because I had quite a bit of slack on there. So now I can close my hook. And I mean, that's not the most attractive thing, but it's for the functionality of the book. So once I know that I've completed my album, I can cut the excess off, and I need to trim this piece of elastic sticking out there. But that is pretty much my finished book, and so you can see how the pages open. And if I decide that I need to add more pages, so I can add either additional paper bags, additional cardstock pages, I can add memorabilia like ticket stubs, or I could even add a photo directly into the binding of this book. So anything else that I want to add, all I have to do is unclip my clasp, and then, you know, you can just go ahead and insert your extra pages in. So when you need to make a mini album that you don't know exactly how big or how many pages you're going to need it to be, this is a, you know, one way that you can bind it besides using just the regular book binding ring. So it's just another option. And it's kind of cute with the little clasp here. So now all I have to do is embellish my book and make my inserts to go into my paper bags. And then I can just go ahead and stick my photos down. And my book is done. So this would be good to take like on a trip or something, because it's small and you can add stuff to it if you need to. So I'm ready to go now. So that's all I have to share with you today. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!